Chapter 355. Facing the attacks of countless lions and tigers, Lu Wuji didn't use any flashy divine abilities. He only relied on his fists to fight 1 against 10,000. He was unstoppable. Zhao 68 blended into the purple thunder lions and tigers and charged at Lu Wuji with extreme speed. Lu Wuji was kicked in the back. Purple lightning formed a net that engulfed Lu Wuji. In the next second, Lu Wuji grabbed Zhao 68 by the throat and threw him to the ground like a piece of cloth. "Little puppet, do you really think I can't deal with you?" Lu Wuji grinned and stomped on Zhao 68's chest with his right foot. A terrifying power erupted. Boom. The ground collapsed and ruins exploded one after another. The ground within a radius of 1,000 meters collapsed and collapsed. Countless rocks were flipped up, like spikes shooting into the sky. Zhou Xuanji blocked with both swords in front of him to reduce the impact. He glanced at the Hell God-slaying formation. The formation had already been set up. The black hole formed by the sword formation had a diameter of 300 meters and was eye-catching. Lu Wuji had also noticed the Hades God-slaying formation, but he did not care about it. Zhao 68 was too difficult to deal with and he had to deal with it quickly. This guy was a puppet and didn't have any essence energy, so he couldn't absorb it. He could only kill it. Zhao 68's body was destroyed by him again and again, but in the blink of an eye, his body reformed again as if he couldn't be killed. Most importantly, Zhao 68's purple lightning was getting stronger and stronger. He was becoming stronger. Haha, this is the power of Zhao 68. The more he fights, the stronger he gets. Emperor Zhao smiled proudly. His soul flickered on the ancient god sword like a candle in the wind, about to be extinguished at any moment. Zhou Xuanji did not reply. Zhao 68 seemed to be getting stronger, but he was still being suppressed by Lu Wuji. If this continued, he would not be able to escape death. At this moment, a black dragon suddenly flew out from the Hades god-slaying formation. This dragon's entire body was wrapped in azure and blue flames, and its body was more than 500 meters long. Countless dragon scales reflected a cold light, and its eyes were scarlet red, full of killing intent. The 2 dragon horns were perfectly straight, but the ends were curved like hooks. At first glance, it looked as if it was wearing an emperor's crown, majestic and domineering. Its appearance attracted the eyes of the people watching from afar. What kind of formation is that? You can summon dragons? This formation seems to be the Hell God-slaying formation. What is the Hades God-slaying formation? I didn't expect the Sword Sovereign to know such an array. He can set up an array by himself? The tyrannical black dragon was truly eye-catching, causing the spectators to cry out in surprise. Black Dragon charged toward Lu Wuji with unstoppable momentum. Zhou Xuanji rejoiced in his heart. It seemed that he had summoned a powerful being this time. This black dragon's aura was very powerful, even more so than Shi Shinzong's. Lu Wuji, who was madly trampling on Zhao 68, was taken away by the black dragon in one bite. Zhao 68's shattered body was struggling in the huge pit. The Hades god-slaying formation is stable this time, right? Jiang Wudi said expectantly, his eyes glowing. Zhou Xuanji's powerful methods made him incredibly envious, and at the same time he felt a different emotion in his heart. It was similar to worship. He watched as Zhou Xuanji became more and more powerful, surpassing him and leaving him far behind. It was an indescribable feeling. Especially since Zhou Xuanji was the son-in-law of his descendant, this feeling was even more profound. However, at this moment, the black dragon let out a mournful roar before it was torn apart by Lu Wuji. Lu Wuji grabbed the 2 dragon horns with both hands, and the dragon blood splashed onto him. His killing intent soared, making him look like a blood-soaked devil god. A6 Tribulation Demon Dragon. But it's a pity that it's nothing before me. Lu Wuji laughed with disdain. He opened his mouth and sucked the 6 Tribulation Demon Dragon into it. The dragon, which was hundreds of meters long, shrunk rapidly. It was as though there was an independent space in Lu Wuji's stomach. The heavens and earth were silent. The arrogant demon dragon died just like that? Zhou Xuanji was stunned too. Zhao 68 got up again and charged toward Lu Wuji. Lu Wuji swung his right hand and sent Zhao 68 flying away with a slap. He walked toward Zhou Xuanji step by step and laughed coldly. "Have you thought it through? I already want to kill you." Zhou Xuanji's face was dark and did not reply. He could already sense Lu Wuji's murderous intent. Even if he wanted to escape now, he could not. Zhao 68 charged toward Lu Wuji consecutively but was sent flying away by him. "Brat, I'm sorry." Emperor Zhao sighed, which made Zhou Xuanji want to beat him up. "Weren't you so confident just now? Is your face swollen now?" You are a dead man. You have no face. Zhou Xuanji took a deep breath and prepared for battle. Zhao 68's speed decreased significantly. Although Emperor Zhao said that he could grow more powerful as he fought, there was a limit to it. Lu Wuji was much more powerful than him. It's about to end. Dao Seeker sighed with a complicated expression. It was not easy for him to meet a genius like Zhou Xuanji. It would be difficult for him to meet another one in the future. Moreover, with Zhou Xuanji dead, who else could stop Lu Wuji? Maybe this is fate, the man in the raincoat said. They did not believe that Lu Wuji wanted to recruit Zhou Xuanji. Zhou Xuanji did not believe it either. If Lu Wuji really cherished such a talent, how could so many powerful cultivators be killed? This guy probably wanted to nurture Zhou Xuanji so that he could absorb his essence qi. Zhang Quanglan was an example. Zhou Xuanji did the same. Sword Emperor, run! Jiang Wudi cried out loudly. He was severely injured and could no longer fight. He did not want to see Zhou Xuanji die here. Zhou Xuanji ignored him and activated the Emperor's Wei Thousand-Hand Sword Buddha straightaway. The 1,000-meter-tall golden Buddha rose from the ground and extended its 1,000 hands. The Buddha's radiance illuminated the world and dispelled the darkness. Is this a divine ability? Lu Wuji asked curiously. No, it's made of sword qi. Brat, your talent in the way of the sword is indeed impressive. Are you really willing to die like this? Zhou Xuanji merged into the 1,000-hand sword Buddha. Next, the 1,000-hand sword Buddha opened its eyes. Use the sword to support the world. Use the sword to save the world. Zhou Xuanji replied calmly. He did not want to die, but he had to stop Lu Wuji. When Lu Wuji absorbed the dragon vein, it would be unstoppable, and the people he cared about would be in danger of dying. Since that's the case, then go to hell. Lu Wuji stomped his right foot and came up to the 1,000-hand sword Buddha with a single step. He swung his right palm. Bomb. The majestic 1,000-hand sword Buddha was shattered by his palm. Zhou Xuanji flew backward like an arrow and vomited blood. He fell into the ruins and no one knew if he was dead or alive. Silence. Everyone was silent and looked at Lu Wuji with ashen faces. Even the Sword Emperor could not defeat Lu Wuji. Who else could they rely on? Are you afraid? Tell the world that I will kill all the humans and demons in the northern wilderness region. Let the world wait for me. I will find you sooner or later. Lu Wuji opened his arms and burst out laughing. He was unrestrained. A horrifying murderous aura swept across the heavens and earth. The spectators felt a chill down their spines and could not move. All of them looked hopeless. It's over. It's really over. I'm not dead yet. Zhou Xuanji's feeble voice resounded across the heavens and earth like the sun breaking through the dark night. A glimmer of hope was ignited in the spectators' eyes. Come. Wonderful book house. Chapter 356. Lu Wuji looked in Zhou Xuanji's direction and condescendingly laughed as he said, Boy, you have great talent, but you're not a match for me at all. Since you're so stubborn, help me out. With that, he disappeared in the air and jumped into the rolling dust. Bang! Countless streams of sword qi tore apart the dust storm, and Zhou Xuanji and Lu Wuji's figures were revealed. He held the sword with both hands and maintained a slashing posture. Heavenly Retribution Martial Punishment and God Ghost Wail were caught by Lu Wuji with his bare hands. The undulating wails of ghosts and howls of wolves resounded, making the world seem like hell, ghastly and terrifying. These two swords are not bad. I want them. Lu Wuji's eyes lit up and he smiled greedily. An image suddenly came out of the ancient god sword above Zhou Xuanji's head. It was Lu Wuji himself. He looked down at his dead body and said, You inherited my body, but you didn't inherit my will. Do you know what price you will have to pay? Lu Wuji looked at the soul fragment in surprise, feeling inexplicably uneasy. The next moment he suddenly widened his eyes and said with a trembling voice, It's you? The physical body and the soul were connected, so Lu Wuji could feel a trace of familiarity. After thinking about it carefully, he guessed the truth. I advise you to let go. Lu Wuji's soul said indifferently. His voice wasn't loud, so the spectators couldn't hear him. Upon hearing this, Lu Wuji subconsciously loosened his grip. Zhou Xuanji sheathed his sword and distanced himself from him. Seeing Lu Wuji in a daze, his heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he was afraid of his own soul? I'm Lu Wuji now. All of you can die together. Lu Wuji savagely laughed. He came before Zhou Xuanji in a single step and slammed his palm into Zhou Xuanji's chest. Zhou Xuanji's consciousness went blank in an instant, and his body flew out like a cannonball. He smashed through massive rocks and ruins and he went deep underground. The divine swords were also sent flying. As Emperor Zhao and Lu Wuji's souls dissipated, Lu Wuji laughed out loud. After attacking his physical body and soul, the last shackle in his heart was broken. He was Lu Wuji. The one and only Lu Wuji. He leaped up, opened his arms and laughed maniacally. Since you're not willing to escape, then go to hell. A terrifying suction force erupted from his body. Within a radius of 10,000 miles, everyone felt as though something was being sucked out of their bodies, scaring them so much that their souls almost flew away. Wisps of essence chi left his body at a speed visible to the naked eye, rushing towards Lu Wuji. The expressions of Jiang Wudi, Li Yinyu, and the others changed drastically. Those with weaker cultivations quickly turned into dried corpses and collapsed to the ground. Ah, save me. Lu Wuji. I curse you. My essence chi, how could this be? Cries of pain came from all directions and Zhou Xuanji regained consciousness. He laid in the ruins and relied on world reincarnation to resist this suction force. Is it really going to end like this? Zhou Xuanji thought in bewilderment. He opened his eyes with great difficulty and looked at the billowing thunderclouds in the sky. All the muscles and bones in his body had been shattered. At this moment he was only left with a single breath, and the only thing that awaited him was death. The legendary sword spiraled above his head, occupying his vision. God Ghost Howl, Heavenly Retribution, Martial Punishment, Ancient God Sword, World Fool Sword, Right Wrong Justice Sword, etc. Souls came out of the Ancient God Sword and the 9 souls all came out. This fellow is truly powerful. If this goes on, he'll definitely die. Lu Wuji, you're truly a disaster. What does it have to do with me? Do you think I want to? Forget it, if he dies we'll die too. Humph. The 9 souls communicated with each other, but Zhou Xuanji could not hear them clearly. His consciousness was hazy, and he could fall into a bottomless abyss at any moment. At that moment, the 9 souls returned to the Ancient God Sword. A wave of intense light shot out from the Ancient God Sword. Boom. The intense light from the Ancient God Sword turned into a pillar of light that inundated Zhou Xuanji. Lu Wuji, who was absorbing the essence chi, looked over and slightly frowned as he muttered, "This boy is still awake?" He had purposely left Zhou Xuanji alive, but he guessed that Zhou Xuanji should have already lost consciousness. "Since it's like this, I'll kill you now." Lu Wuji savagely laughed. He raised his left hand and waved towards Zhou Xuanji, preparing to absorb Zhou Xuanji's essence chi before killing him. However, no matter how much he sucked, he could not bring Zhou Xuanji in front of him. His expression froze. Rumble. The ground violently trembled as if a massive creature was going to break out of the ground. The pillar of light rose up, piercing through the thunderclouds. Dozens of legendary swords circled around the pillar of light, quickly flying. Those who were running away looked back just in time to see this spectacular scene. Within the dark heavens and earth, the pillar of light connected the heavens and the earth, representing light and illuminating this world. An extremely terrifying aura exploded out, covering the entire ground. In that moment, the other cities and kingdoms in the Hunyuan Empire all felt this might, as if a god had descended. The various cities were sent into an uproar. Because they were too far away, they did not know what kind of battle was happening in the royal city. However, this might evidently came from the royal city. What's going on? There must be a peerless expert fighting with Lu Wuji. This might is too powerful. I've lived for thousands of years, but I've never encountered such a powerful might. Chapter 357. A dignified and domineering sword soul condensed on Zhou Xuanji's right arm. As soon as it appeared, it turned into a black light and slashed forwards with the Ancient God Sword. Lu Wuji's vision blurred, and he subconsciously stretched out his palm. A deafening boom resounded. The sword chi drowned Lu Wuji and cut the ground in half. A row of dust rose up from the crack created by the sword chi, reaching hundreds of meters high and reaching the horizon. The ruins of the imperial city had been cut in half. In the distance, Jiang Wudi and the others were dumbfounded. This sword was incomparably domineering. They didn't see it clearly at all. They only saw the ground in front of them suddenly crack open, and a row of dust that covered the sky flew up. It was unstoppable. They felt like they were falling leaves in the wind, about to be swept away at any time. Especially that domineering pressure, it made their souls tremble. What kind of sword technique is that? Jiang Wudi swallowed his saliva and muttered to himself. He suddenly thought of Shi Shinzong. It was said that when Shi Shinzong had fought with Zhou Xuanji, he had used a strange sword technique that could not be identified. It was incredibly domineering and had the power to destroy the heavens and the earth. Zhou Xuanji panted heavily in midair. Swinging his sword had used up all of his magic energy. Fortunately, the Tianxia map was continuously providing him with magic energy. He looked down and saw that there was a canyon that was dozens of feet wide. It was so deep that he couldn't see the bottom, and Lu Wuji was lying at the bottom of the canyon. Damn it. What kind of power is this? In the darkness, Lu Wuji gritted his teeth and struggled to rise to his feet. That sword strike just now was too domineering, and it almost turned him into ashes. The flames of jealousy in his heart burned wildly. How could he lose to a first tribulation bodiless immortal? His predecessor was an existence who could fight above his cultivation level. How could he be defeated by a descendant who was so many realms above him? The more he thought about it, the more indignant he became. He placed his hands on the ground and started absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Zhou Xuanji wanted to follow up with another attack, but he had to wait for his magic energy to recover. At the same time, his body felt like it was being torn apart, and he could be crushed at any moment. He must be eliminated. Zhou Xuanji gritted his teeth and raised his left hand, and all of his legendary swords appeared. He used the 100-sword style with his will, and all the divine swords fell like heavy rain, drilling into the canyon. Then a series of rumbling sounds came from the canyon. Stinking brat. Can you kill me? Lu Wuji wildly laughed as he quickly leapt out of the canyon and slammed his palm towards Zhou Xuanji. Countless black bees flew out from his palm. World Overlord controlled the power of heaven and earth and was the sole overlord. After obtaining the sun-devouring Tiango sword, he relaxed and directly entered a state of comprehension. What kind of energy technique is this boy cultivating? He can actually comprehend the power of heaven and earth in the netherworld. Magistrate Cui glanced at Zhou Xuanji and felt inwardly shocked. If this went on, as long as Zhou Xuanji had enough time, he might be able to cultivate a divine ability of the way of yin and yang. Once he reached great accomplishment, he would be able to move freely between the yin and yang realms. Magistrate Cui shook his head and laughed. He did not feel any envy, only some anticipation. Even in the netherworld there were struggles over benefits. Zhou Xuanji's talent was very great and he could use him. Magistrate Cui had a thought and disappeared from where he was. After he returned, he took out a bottle of medicinal pills and gave it to Zhou Xuanji. These are great spirit pills from the netherworld, and they are the salary of netherworld servants. I'll give you a bottle, so cultivate well. Magistrate Cui explained before returning to the hall and continuing to work. Zhou Xuanji felt quite startled and deeply looked at Magistrate Cui. There was no free lunch in the world. It seemed that this fellow needed his help. He was not worried that Magistrate Cui would poison him. With Magistrate Cui's power, it would be easy for him to deal with him. Why would he need to beat around the bush? Zhou Xuanji took out a great spirit pill and ate it. Boom. He felt an explosion in his body, and a berserk spiritual chi ravaged his body. He immediately channeled his energy to cultivate. Magistrate Cui gave a slight smile and picked up a book, reading it with great interest. Great spirit pills were extremely domineering. He used a year to break through to second tribulation scattered immortal. However, Magistrate Cui's great spirit pills were limited, so he could not use them limitlessly. After that, he could only cultivate by himself. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, another 6 years passed. Zhou Xuanji reached 67 years old. Every year, Magistrate Cui would provide him with 2 bottles of great spirit pills. His cultivation also reached third tribulation scattered immortal. He was about to master the 9 hell flame extinction. As for World Overlord, it was too difficult. However, at least he had improved a lot and there was hope. In the past 7 years he had obtained 12 magical swords. The highest was the glorious gold magical sword, and the lowest was the bronze magical sword. It could be seen that every time his luck was off the charts, there would be a period of low times. Chapter 361. Your wife and daughter are fine. They have a long lifespan. Unless they encounter a power beyond the mortal realm, they will not die within 1,000 years. Magistrate Cui shook his head and said, "This brat was good in every aspect, but he was too concerned about his wife and daughter. To a powerful cultivator this was not a good thing. If one was too involved with someone, it would often become one's weakness." Zhou Xuanji was not at ease. It was not like there were no powers beyond the mortal realm. For example, Lu Wuji, Baihao Yisan, Shenyuanzhou, and so on. The northern wilderness region was too dangerous. He did not panic but continued to cultivate with his eyes closed. While he was cultivating World Overlord and 9 hell flame extinction, his understanding of sword souls had also increased. He could use different sword techniques at the same time, so why couldn't he use different sword souls at the same time? This idea shocked him. He had been cultivating for a month. When he created a sword soul, It shook the entire palace, which shocked Magistrate Shui. To prevent Zhou Xuanji from causing any damage, Magistrate Shui created a protective barrier to isolate Zhou Xuanji. At the same time, he created a space with a radius of 30 meters for him to cultivate. As time passed, many impermanences remembered Zhou Xuanji. What was worth mentioning was that Zhou Xuanji encountered some ghosts from the northern wilderness region. They had witnessed Zhou Xuanji establishing a sect, but they were killed by Lu Wuji and fell into the netherworld. Although this made him feel a little emotional, he did not plead for mercy for Zhou Xuanji. Firstly, it was useless. Secondly, he did not want to interfere with the cycle of life and death. 6 years later, Zhou Xuanji's cultivation reached fourth tribulation scattered immortal. He finally mastered 9 hell flame extinction. In these 6 years his name had spread throughout the netherworld. Many ghost servants knew that Magistrate Shui had taken in a living person and was nurturing him. Gradually, those impermanences became respectful to Zhou Xuanji. Without King Yama, the magistrate was the ruler of a territory. It was easy to hide things. Although it was taboo to take in a living person, it was not a big deal to a magistrate. Since ancient times, magistrates had nurtured mortals. The mortals would become immortals and then nurture the magistrates. Immediately, a few Yama kings ascended to their positions through this method. 6 years later, Zhou Xuanji obtained another 8 legendary swords. They were the Defense Sword, Little Dragon Sword, Qin Wind Sword, Balanced Moon Sword, Jietang Sword, Flying Evasion Thunder Sword, Steel Armor Sword, and Earth Core Sword. Zhou Xuanji took a deep breath and got up slowly. He had already stayed in the netherworld for 13 years. He had been reborn and his strength had increased by leaps and bounds.